Hello, welcome back to the YouTube channel. I am Nick from Australia. This afternoon's video is going to be the Brisbane Broncos Team of the Decade from 2010 to 2020. But before I get into this afternoon's video, I just want to say that if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, make sure you do. We're currently at 1,039 subscribers. I appreciate all of the support, and I love all my subscribers, and the channel is doing very well. So thank you to everyone out there who takes the time out of their day and night to watch my videos. Also, if you're not following me on Instagram, make sure you do. It's called Nick from Australia. I'll leave a link in the description below. So make sure you go and follow me on Instagram. I may go live tonight on Instagram for about 20-30 minutes just to talk some footy. So if you're not following me on Instagram, make sure you do. And I'll be live tonight sometime on Instagram. But let's get into this afternoon's video. The Brisbane Broncos Team of the Decade from 2010 to 2020. We'll go through the 1 to 17, and we'll also announce the coach, and we'll go through it. So, fullback, Darius Boyd. On the wings, Corey Oates and Jarrell Yao-Yee. In the centres, Jack Reed and Justin Hodges. In the halves, Anthony Milford and Ben Hunt. The front row of Josh Mcguire and Sam Fartoy. The hooker is Andrew McCulloch. The back row of Alex Glenn, Matt Gillette, and Corey Parker. And on the bench, Jordan Kahu, Adam Blair, Joe Offa-Ngowie, and David Stagg. The coach is Wayne Bennett. Now, I'll start with the coach here. I think that's a pretty obvious one. Wayne Bennett. He took over the Broncos once again in 2015. Got the Broncos to the grand final that year. And then in 2016, he got them to the second week of the finals. And in 2017, he got the Broncos all the way to the preliminary final. 2018, they went out the first week, and then he was pretty much let go after that. So, not many other good coaches for the Broncos in the last decade. So, I think Wayne Bennett is easily the coach of the decade, and I'm pretty sure for the Broncos, it's a no-brainer. He's obviously the best Broncos coach of the decade there. Now, let's go through the team. So, the fullback is Darius Boyd. I think that's a pretty obvious one. He rejoined the club back in 2015, I believe. And he obviously retired at the end of 2020. And, you know, his run at the Broncos was fantastic. I know at the back end of it, it was pretty disappointing. It was getting a bit old and stale. Maybe he went a year or two too long. But Darius Boyd for the Broncos, he'll go down as one of the best Broncos outside backs for him, I think, when the Broncos have another Hall of Fame night or whatever. But I think Darius Boyd will go down as one of the best Broncos outside backs to ever play for that club. So I think Darius Boyd here is a no-brainer on this list. The wingers, Corey Oates and Jarrell Yao-Yee. Corey Oates still at the Broncos to this day. Wants to move to the back row, but will most likely be playing on the wing again because I think Brisbane will have enough forwards to cover the back row and all that. So I think Corey Oates probably will end up on the wing again. But his time at the Broncos has been fantastic. He's a one-club player. He's been very loyal for the Broncos. And Corey Oates, you know, he's had a couple of really strange years, the last couple of years or so for Corey Oates. But I think the last 10 years or so he's been quite good for the Broncos. So he makes the wing. The other winger was Jarrell Yao-Yee. Now, unfortunately, this bloke got injured in 2012, I think it was. The game against South where it was wet and just miserable conditions. And he had that terrible injury which ended his career. But the 2.5 years that he was playing, Jarrell Yao-Yee was just absolutely fantastic. He could have been anything. I think he was going to be a future State of Origin player. I think he did play State of Origin, Yao-Yee. So I think he would have been anything, Jarrell Yao-Yee. But unfortunately, he had that bad injury which ended his career. But I think Jarrell Yao-Yee definitely deserves to make this team. I know he was only there for a short period of time, but what a player he was. The centres, Jack Reed and Justin Hodges. Now, Jack Reed was a very underrated player, in my opinion. He scored some great tries in his career. I remember the one against Melbourne where he just absolutely destroyed him. I think it was the individual try of the year in 2014. He was a very good player for the Broncos, Jack Reed. I know he left there and went over to England, I think, at the back end of his career. But his run at the Broncos was quite good, and I think he deserves to make the team of the decade. And the other centre is Justin Hodges. Now, he's obviously a Broncos legend. He joined them a long time ago, and he obviously retired in 2015, I think it was. But Justin Hodges' run at Broncos the last 10 years was fantastic. I know he was only there for 5 years, but, you know, what a player, a club legend, one of the best Broncos centres to ever play for him, and a club legend for them, and a pretty good decade for him, so he makes the centres as well. The halves, Anthony Milford and Ben Hart. Now, looking over the Broncos halves the last 10 years, to be brutally honest here, this might sound ridiculous, but I think it's the truth. They haven't had a really great half since probably Darren Lockyer. Now, I know Milford and Hunt had a good combination in 2015, and they were obviously fantastic, but they haven't had that out-and-out superstar, that game winner sort of player since probably Darren Lockyer. But, Milford and Hunt, when they were together in 2015, they were absolutely fantastic. There was a try where they scored against the Roosters in the preliminary final where it was like this awesome inside-outside play. It was unbelievable. My brother, always Brisbane Broncos, says that it's the best try he's ever seen from the Broncos, or it's his favourite try. Anyway, so, what a try that was. And if you haven't watched it, go and check it out. You know what I'm talking about. But Milford and Hunt, they had a good combination together, and I can't really name any other halves besides those two the last 10 years of Brisbane that have been really good. So Milford and Hunt are the halves. The front row is Josh Mcguire and Sam Fartoy. Now, I know Josh Mcguire was more of a lock at Brisbane, but I feel like he had to be in this team somewhere, so I put him to front row with Sam Fartoy, and I'll start with Josh Mcguire. Now, Josh Mcguire, he was at Brisbane for a very long time, and then he turned his back on him and went to the Cowboys, even though the Broncos will say that he was let go, but really, I think there was more to it. But anyway, his run at Brisbane was fantastic. A very consistent state of origin player, and obviously he's playing with the Cowboys now, but Josh Mcguire will go down as a Broncos legend, I think, when he retires. And I think he deserves to be in this team of the decade. And the other front rower, Sam Fartoy. What a legend, a one-club player, one of the best Broncos forwards to ever play for him. And, he did retire at the end of 2018. And from 2010 to 2018, he was a consistent state of origin and a Kangaroos player. And I think he's a no-brainer. He's probably one of the first picked in this team of the decade. So Sam Fartoy makes the front row. The hooker is Andrew McCulloch. Now, he's been there for a long time, and then he left to go to Newcastle. Had a bad injury. Now he's back at the Broncos. McCulloch, I think he's easily the hooker of the decade. I think he's the only hooker that's actually played for in the last 10 years. I know they had Jake Turpin and Seguiara there for a little bit, but McCulloch's been there for a long time, and I think he's probably a no-brainer here. He's probably one of the first 3 or 5 picked in this team of the decade. So McCulloch at hooker is a no-brainer. The back row with Alex Glenn and Matt Gillette. Now, Alex Glenn's been there his entire career. Very loyal. He got offered to go to the Gold Coast and he took less money to stay at Brisbane. What a player, man. I think he's still the captain of the Broncos, Alex Glenn. And I think he deserves to stay captain as well. He hasn't done anything wrong. And, what a player he's been for the Broncos. And he's a very good New Zealand international when he was there as well. So I think Alex Glenn's a no-brainer as well. And the other back rower, Matt Gillette. Another one-club player for the Broncos. Obviously had to retire due to that neck injury, which was a shame. But Matt Gillette, man, what a player. He was the sort of bloke where if you get him for a gap, you get him one-on-one with the half, he's going to worry the defensive line. The defensive line's going to bend. They're going to be so nervous. Matt Gillette was a great player, and I think he deserves to be in the back row, without a doubt. The lock, Corey Parker, another one-club player for the Broncos. I know I'm saying that a lot in this video, but there's a lot of one-club players in this team of the decade, and I think they all deserve to be here. Corey Parker was fantastic for the Broncos. What a career he had. Great captain, great leader. Pretty good goal kicker as well for the Broncos, and he was always playing for State of Origin in Queensland. So Corey Parker is one of the first couple picked in this team of the decade. Now the bench. I've got Jordan Kahu on the bench now. I think a bit controversial. A lot of people don't rate Jordan Kahu, but he used to be a good player back in probably 2013, 2014, 15. It was quite good. Probably got I think injury has sort of let Jordan Kahu down, and then I think his career's been good at Brisbane. I think he deserves to be here somewhere, so I've got him on the bench. The other 2 forwards I got is Adam Blair and Joe Offering-Gowie. Now, Adam Blair's run at Brisbane was actually quite solid. He was a good leader there. When he went up to Brisbane, he was more of a leader. Did a pretty good job with Brisbane and, didn't do a whole lot wrong, Adam Blair. He had a couple of discipline issues, but what a player he was. I think he deserves to be here as well. The other bloke is Joe Offering-Gowie. Just recently left Brisbane to go down to the West Tigers to try and save that club in the forwards. And I think Joe Offering-Gowie's actually had a pretty good run at Brisbane. He's probably been a bit flat the last couple of years, but I think he deserves to be in this team of the decade somewhere, Joe Offering-Gowie. So got him on the bench. And the other last player I got on the bench was David Stagg. Now, David Stagg, probably more known for his 2006, 2007 days, where he was a centre, back rower, played a bit of Hart, played a few games in the halves. But David Stagg was a very reliable player. I think he retired at the end of 2014. Oh, actually, it might have been 2015. I think he left Brisbane, but he had a really good run at Brisbane, and I think he deserves to be in this team somewhere. But that's my Broncos team of the decade, guys. Let me know in the comment section below what your Broncos team of the decade is. Is there anyone that I left out? Is there anyone that you would put in there right now who's still playing? Maybe. I don't know. But you guys can let me know about that in the comment section below. But anyway, guys, that's going to wrap up this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure you guys go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Also, I'll be live tonight on Instagram. It's called Nick from Australia. I'll leave a link in the description below. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching this video. I appreciate the support, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Stay safe, and have a good one, guys.